In a quiet land called Israel, long before kings ruled or armies marched across open valleys, the people lived under the heavy shadow of the Philistines. Each day they cried out for deliverance, for a hero, for someone chosen by God to bring them hope again. No one imagined that their deliverance would begin with a miracle. In a small village lived a humble woman, gentle, faithful, longing for a child. One bright afternoon, as sunlight softened the room around her, a shimmering figure appeared. She gasped, stepping back in awe. The angel spoke gently, like thunder wrapped in warmth. "Do not be afraid. You will have a son. He will be dedicated to God from the moment he is born. His hair must never be cut, for he will begin delivering Israel from the Philistines." Months later, the miracle came. A bright-eyed baby boy with soft curls that caught the light. She named him Samson, the boy who was promised. She raised him with tenderness, teaching him to honor God and care for the gift he carried. Every morning she combed his long, growing hair and whispered, "This is your sign, my son. God has chosen you." As Samson grew, something extraordinary awakened within him. Villagers noticed how he lifted heavy water pots as if they were feathers, how he carried enormous bundles of wood without strain, and how even the strongest men could not pin him to the ground. But these were only hints. One day, walking along a rocky path, Samson heard a roar. A lion leapt toward him. Instead of running, Samson felt a surge of divine power. With his bare hands, he wrestled the lion and defeated it. He stared at his trembling hands afterward, confusion mixing with wonder. God was with him. Over the years, Samson became known throughout Israel as the strongest man alive. When the Philistines oppressed the people, Samson stood against them fearlessly. But even the strongest hero can have a restless heart. In a Philistine town, Samson met a striking woman named Delilah, captivating, clever, and confident. Samson was drawn to her despite warnings from his people. One quiet evening, Samson's mother held his face gently and whispered, "Remember who you are, my son. Remember God's purpose." But Samson was young and drawn powerfully toward Delilah. Their early days were filled with laughter, long walks, and warmth. Delilah admired his strength and his innocence, but hidden behind her smiles was a secret. Philistine leaders approached her with an offer. "Find out the secret of his strength," they said, "and we will reward you with silver, more than you've ever imagined." Delilah hesitated. She liked Samson, maybe even cared for him, but the promise of wealth stirred her heart. She agreed. One evening, Delilah spoke softly, her tone almost rehearsed. "Samson, tell me the secret of your great strength." Samson teased her with a false answer, his voice calm and playful. "If I were tied with fresh ropes, I would be as weak as any man." That night, while he slept, Delilah tied him. Her voice rose sharply and feigned alarm. "Samson, the Philistines are here!" He snapped the ropes effortlessly. Delilah acted surprised, yet a quiet disappointment grew within her. She tried again the next day, and again, and again. Each time Samson broke free, but Delilah was persistent. On the fourth day she cried dramatically, her voice trembling, half real, half guile. "How can you say you love me when you keep the truth from me? Tell me your secret." He gazed into the eyes he trusted, and something in him softened. Troubled, weary, vulnerable, he finally spoke. "My hair, it has never been cut. It is the sign of my dedication to God. If my hair is shaven, my strength will leave me." Delilah's eyes widened, gentle on the surface, triumphant deep inside. She comforted him until he drifted into a deep sleep. Then she summoned the Philistines. Quietly, carefully, they cut Samson's hair. Strand by strand, the covenant was broken. She called out again, this time with true excitement beneath her acting. "Samson, the Philistines are here!" He awoke, tried to rise, but the power was gone. His strength vanished. The Philistines seized him, mocked him, blinded him, and dragged him away. Delilah stood silent as her bag of silver clinked at her feet. Samson, once Israel's mighty hero, was forced to grind grain in prison. Day after day he pushed heavy stones in darkness, but slowly, quietly, his hair began to grow again, and with it a flicker of hope. The Philistines gathered in a massive temple to celebrate their victory. "Bring Samson out," they shouted. "Let us laugh at him." A young boy led Samson into the hall. The crowds jeered. Music roared. Samson whispered to the boy, his voice weak yet steady. "Please, place my hands on the pillars that hold the temple so I may lean on them." The boy guided his hands to the pillars. Samson stood still. He listened to the echoing laughter. He felt the stone beneath his palms, and for the first time in a long time, he prayed, "Lord, give me strength one more time." Not in pride, not for revenge, but from a humbled heart. A divine surge filled him, not the wild strength he once flaunted, but a deeper, sacred power. He pushed. The pillars shook, the ground rumbled, cracks streaked across the temple ceiling, gasps filled the air. With one final mighty thrust, Samson brought the entire structure crashing down. It was his last act, a sacrifice that crushed the Philistines who tormented his people. Samson's story did not end in weakness, but in redemption. He had been chosen. He stumbled. He fell. But he returned to God and fulfilled his purpose. Generations remembered him not just as a man of incredible strength, but as a reminder. God gives power and restores it when we return with a humble heart.